time now. So I'm sitting here today with my two wonderful sisters. I got Kimberly to my left, and I got Satora to my right. And I am overly pleased to be here with y'all today. So we started this podcast called Count Time, and I'm really excited about it because I believe that it's necessary. I think that it's time that people that's been impacted and justice involved, stop carrying, their convictions as a scarlet letter. I think that for many of us, we might have done those crimes, but we are not those crimes. We have transcended and transformed beyond the errors we have made in life. And I think it's time for us to educate society as a whole as to how we have transitioned and how the necessity of us being able to, come back into society and, matriculate back into society is long overdue. So let's get to it. What y'all doing? How y'all doing? What y'all up to nowadays?
Just trying to
Life.
life, and just trying to stay above water, stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive.
Is it hard to stay out of trouble?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know I talk to a lot of my brothers, and they always say like, Fred, man, I love what you're doing, man, you know what I'm saying? But right now, I'll get 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I never buy into that though. I'm like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I say, okay. But you still, I multitask, so I think you can do two things. Like while you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you can actually start working toward getting that other foot out. So you 2 foot out, But it's always interesting when I hear brothers appreciate the movement that we building together, but also still finding justification of like staying out the game. What you think, Kim?
First of all, I want to tell you all both thank you. I feel like it's very necessary that we do bring the necessary conversations to the floor simply because the world is beginning to understand about people being directly impacted, and that's what the show is about, Count Time. But we also need to understand that as you were speaking, that as we are moving forward in our world, as far as us being out here, it's necessary that we understand the choices.
Okay.
Choices is so imperative simply because it only takes 1 second to make the wrong choice and or decision that can ultimately change your life. But does that define who you are? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And instead of us seeing the outer of the situation, it's time for society to tap into the internal. Because everything that's a problem, of course, there's a foundation. And there's a reason for the illegal behaviors or reason why people feel like they need to cut corners. But one thing for certain, when you have really begun to soul search and you're willing to give yourself a chance to have a choice, that's the imperative moment right there. When you give yourself a chance to say, I'm going to do all the way right. And if all the way right it doesn't suit me, then I'm going to go back to doing wrong. I'm 99.9% sure that once you embrace doing completely right, you're not going to want to go back to do wrong. But how do we get us to that point?
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I got some thoughts, but I want to hear what's your thoughts on that. That was a lot.
I find myself all the time trying to figure out if I'm gonna make a bad choice or not.
Yeah.
Still today, and I feel like just stemming off of what she said that of absolutely 90% of the time people don't make bad choices because they want to. They make bad choices because of survival strategies or desperate times. I myself, every majority of the bad choices that I've made has not been because I wanted to make bad choices. It was because of the situations that I was placed in. And like I said, right now, today, you know, I am absolutely trying my hardest to transition myself or reform myself to be a better person. But because of, you know, whatever my reasons are, I find myself contemplating on, you know, if I want to make a bad decision or not. But because of my past incarcerations, I choose to try to navigate or figure other things out. But I'm not going to sit here and say that since being home, I haven't made a few bad decisions.
Yeah.
That could have probably, you know, sent me back. But, you know, I took a chance once again because of survival, trying to survive and take care of my family and kids.
So you know what? So let's think about let's put some data into this, right? So I like to do my research, right? So it's this so it's a guy named Truslow Adams, and Truslow Adams came up with the concept. They coined him as the one who came up with the concept of American Dream. And so in 1930, you know, he made this bold statement where, irregardless of what station in life you come from, you know, if you had a good job and a good education, you could in some way experience the American dream, which is the white house, picket fence, dog, car, right? And so at that same time, when he, you know, postulated this, it was another guy. He was a sociologist named Robert Merton. And Robert Morton came up with this thing called strain theory. But what he told Truslow was that you're a lie. He said, you know, I was about to say damn well, right? You know that there are populations of people that don't have access to a good job, don't have access to a good education, but still believe in the American dream. And he said because these people still believed in the American dream with no possible ways and means to achieve it, they would do it by hook or crook, by any means necessary, right? Which causes stress, which actually he turned into strain theory. Now get deeper than that. Merton went further to say that there's 5 types of people that show up in this space like that. You have one type in particular they call innovators. And the innovator was the ones who believed in the American dream, the house, the car, the Balenciaga, you know what I'm saying, the Gucci, the Louis, all that good, you know what I'm saying, the boats, the yachts, you know what they show. But didn't have no clear pathway on how to achieve it. He said that America values is the presupposition for crime and deviance in America. And when I listened to that theory in the 30s, I started thinking about all my brothers, you know what I'm saying, being away, they writing all these books, they want to hit the one-hit wonder, they want to make that one song that become a smash, right, or that one creative idea. I believe that today we still believe in our American dream.
I don't.
I think that, let me ask you this. Do you believe that you should have that big old nice house, that 10-bedroom house, you know what I'm saying, with them big, you know what I'm saying, ceramic or marble floors, and maybe 2-3 of them nice toys in the driveway, you know what I'm saying, and them big long evening dresses?
Absolutely.
You believe that? Mm-hmm. Well, I think in some ways that's like an American dream. A nice boat or yacht if you want to jump on it. Take your girlfriends out, a boyfriend, and cruise for a little bit. Take trips to different beaches and sit and lay on the sun eating grapes and strawberries. That's somewhat of an American dream. Or what kind of dream you think it is? Your dream.
Right.
Right. But think about it though.
It is the American dream.
Right? And so I think that even though we might not call it the American dream, right, because we look at America like maybe a nightmare, many of us still have within our minds, whether it's conscious or subconscious, we still have this desire to have a nice life, a life free of want, free of need. You know what I'm saying? We want a car that ain't gonna break down. In fact, we want more than a car that just don't break down. We want a car that, goddamn it, you know what I'm saying, is worthy of getting a car wash. You know? I think that in 2025, when we look and we look at the videos, we look at all that, I think that, and so I'm saying this because I think that, and also I'm gonna give you a federal statistic, that 90% of crimes that's being committed on the federal scale is financial crimes. Was your crimes about some money?
Yes.
Trying to get some? Okay. You know? They say that 90% of the crimes that's committed is financial. And if that's the case, then is it possible that people that, you know, have these felony convictions, if it's financial, in some way could it be tied to, like, you know, a desired lifestyle?
Absolutely.
A desired way of living?
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I went to the joint because my mother cried about bills all the time. I thought money was the source of happiness because every time my mother was unhappy, it was because of a bill, some money. I ain't got money for this. I couldn't take it. I'm 9, 10 years old. I'm trying to cut grass. I'm trying to cut people's hair to get money just to bring, because I'm sick of seeing my mother so unhappy. That shit took me off the porch. I went to the streets. And even when I gave her that first 50, I never forget, she was, at the same time she was asking me where I get it from, she was reaching for it. So the need was even greater than the morality.
Impactful.
You know?
The need was greater than the morality.
So
Because she knew that you probably, but I need
where I get $50? I ain't got no job.
Absolutely. So the morale.
I done bust somebody
the
straight on top of their
compromise.
head for that 50. Literally. Probably had a drop of blood on it. You know, she looked hard enough. But she needed that 50. And so she, you know, she put aside the moral emphasis of it, right? Because the need was so great. So, I mean, so, you know, like, I think that that's something that we have to, so it's a both and. Like, somebody has helped create the circumstances, right, for poverty to exist, right, for lack in communities to exist, right? Almost like the mouse in the maze. If I starve a mice out and then put cheese, you know, in the maze over here after the trap, shit, I'm going after the cheese. I ain't thinking about the trap. I'm thinking about I'm hungry and I smell cheese. Now, if you put the cheese on the other side of the trap, what you think gonna happen to me?
My head gonna get cut off, but I'm gonna try to go get that cheese.
Because my natural inclination is to get what I need.
Period.
But if we, and I'm really trying to get into the minds of people that have caught these felonies, right, and about to catch these felonies, because I think that it's a difference between having a car, you know, that got heat and can get you from A to B, or having, you understand, you know, a 550 Benz, right? And I think that because capitalism, materialism is so strong that a person, I think that if they don't have a 550, that's worth putting it all on the line for, versus, man, I really need a car. You know, I need a car to get to and fro so I can get me some money, versus I need to risk the next 20 years for having, you know what I'm saying, this Bentley truck. What you think?
And also, I just wanted to say that I don't 100% necessarily think that. I think that it was systematically set up like this for us as well by the government or whoever, you know, far as like poverty, because what I've learned from my incarcerations and how much they get paid for a person to be there is this is $1 billion business. This is $1 billion industry. And I feel like, you know, when I was doing my illegal organizations or businesses, you know, I had to market it. I had to go out and market to get my customers, and you know, so I feel like their marketing strategy is to keep us in poverty, or you know, keep things set in place for us so that they could market the things to us to make us go and commit the crime, because we are the consumers, we're the customers. So I feel that, you know, it has been strategically set in place, the way that African American people are forced to live by placing the government systems on us, which food stamps, Medicaid, Section 8, public housing. They don't want us to think about, you know, getting jobs or being wealthy or wanting things. They want to keep us down and keep us, you know.
So, man, you hitting on something. So you saying like, I'm gonna pay these few rappers big contracts to show the cars, show the beef, show the, you know what I'm saying, the drama, and the clothes and all the what's it called, and I'm gonna pay them to feed the streets.
Yeah.
Or feed the mentality of the streets.
But make it also so that they cannot rise above to get to that level. And if they try to rise above and get to that level, incarceration is what they would face. And that's the way that we're going to make our money. Whoa. That's the way that we're going to get, you know, what is it now, $40,000 per number? So anywhere between $20,000 to $40,000 per number. And also, there's no such thing as rehabilitation or reform, because, you know, when you go back and you get a new number, that's more money for them. So they may say that they're rehabilitating, but nothing about prison is rehabilitating. I learned more criminal activities in jail than I did when I was out. It's a systematic, strategic system that has been set in place so that they can make millions. I feel like first it was slavery, then it was Jim Crow, now it's mass incarceration. That's the next big business. Went there. So I'm just saying, you know, this is bigger than what most people can even imagine. They don't even know. You know, when I went to jail, the book that I read that really pissed me off was the new Jim Crow book. That's the first book that woke me up.
Michelle Alexander.
You know,
shout out.
The first book that really woke me up was the new Jim Crow book. And when I read the book, I felt really tricked and manipulated and played by the government. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't like the fact how, you know, they went into the black neighborhoods and they, you know, did all the what is it called, war on drugs, and you know, going in neighborhoods, you know, not you know, searching and seizing and all this and that. But you going in neighborhoods where we don't got no way to get this stuff over here. You ain't going to the people that got the boats that brought it here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just when I read that book, that's just one of the main reasons. Even if I choose to commit another crime, it would never be to sell dope again, because I understand that I will not be a pawn in their chess game anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it's just if so many people just knew, so many, especially people that knew that was selling drugs, knew that there is no such thing as winning or no way out. It's not about, you know, if you're gonna get caught or when you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get caught because that's the way that they have it set up for you.
Yeah, that's right. Ken, what you think about that?
First of all, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
It's data to prove that. Like, sister just dropped the Hiroshima, the bomb gang, right? But we got the Correctional Corporation of America that was established in 1983 when they privatized prisons and put them on Wall Street. We got, you understand, Iran-Contra, you understand, scam where they was trading guns for them to fund their civil war, and they was giving us heroin and dope in exchange that they actually put down into the black community, right? So she got some heavy pieces. And, you understand, privatized prisons, there was an explosion in the prison population once the prison system became, they call it core something now, core something.
Core Civic.
Core Civic.
Those the people that own the private prison.
That's right. So it started off the Correctional Corporation of America, and then they switched the name to Core Civics, privatized prisons. I hear horror stories about how they trying to cut costs and maximize profits by giving food with no nutritional value. All types of shit. Okay.
Speaking of no nutrition, I've been home a couple years.
Okay.
I went into the freezer of the cafeteria. I seen cases up against the wall, and it says not for human consumption.
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah, you see that. They say not for
human consumption.
Huh? What you mean? That's food in the joint?
for
Yeah.
human consumption,
That's what it says on
and
the
they'll
boxes.
add whatever's in that box to the meal that they're preparing. And
That got to be illegal.
well,
That gotta be
but it
illegal.
goes with
So what? We ain't.
it goes
so
with
that human.
privatization.
So is that 3.5
That
of humans?
yes,
3.5. We 3/5.
and earmark is earmark still the
Earmark
project?
gotta be. Earmark gotta be a
the-
target.
That's
the
exactly who I
Not for human consumption.
Not for human consumption.
not for human
Do
consumption.
you know what that was? Like, what is it? What's in them
It's
boxes?
like old
food.
old
Meat
pork,
that's not
old
really,
pork, yeah,
or like
stuff
some
that,
meat that's
stuff
not
you wouldn't
really
even give to a pig,
a dog or
Yes,
something like.
yes,
It's like
for
some
sure.
type of
That's
stuff.
why it says not for
Some of the
human.
meat is like mystery meat. You don't even know what it is.
Mystery meat. What
Yeah,
the?
that's what on Thursday, that turkey patty.
Yeah, see, I never
you know what?
indulge because when you burp for 5 weeks tasting it. I want to hit you with one thing. You said something so important. We as the brown neighborhood, because our job is to build our neighborhoods back into communities. However, educating our people to help them to understand that we got to become resilient to come out of their trap. Because as long as we keep saying we know what they doing, but we keep going, that's almost like I
Insanity.
want to say
Insane. That's
Or-
exactly the word.
no, it's the word I'm using.
Insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. If you know,
I'm talking about Stockholm syndrome. It's another form.
Okay.
Oh, loving the oppressor.
Because you know that they are your abuser, you know they groomed you, but no matter how much you try to get away, you still go back. And at some point, they don't have to tell you to come back because you keep going back to that lifestyle when you know exactly what the result's gonna be.
Yeah.
I think that goes to also the enslaved mind. Let's talk about that. Let's
I
talk
feel you
about
got options.
the enslaved mind. I feel like
Enslaved
it's a lot of undoing that has been taught and from great on down the lines that makes people or African American people with the mindset that they have today. And like I was explaining to them the other day when we were over there talking, you know, we can sit here and have these conversations, you know, all day long, but I'm living witness. I'm a person that I can sit here and say, this ain't the first time I'd have heard somebody talk to me about some things like this or try to get me to elevate my mind or think about something different. And I really didn't want to hear none of that, what they were talking about, because I was so busy trying to figure out where I'm about to sleep tonight, what I'm about to eat. I had a baby at 15, how I'm gonna feed this baby. Like I couldn't even take in or think about something like this when I'm too busy worried about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know,
Crisis mode.
not even just that, but it's just like, you know, my thinking from growing up, like I couldn't even see that far. My brain wouldn't even let me think nothing like that because of how I was taught and what I was seeing in my home and my parental advisory and things of that nature. You know, when you're gonna do and implicate what you've been shown inside of your home. And if your mama didn't know and your grandma didn't know, and you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Generational dysfunctionalism.
you know what I'm saying? It's just like, so it's I still to ask myself, I'm still today trying to undo some learned behaviors that I learned growing up in my home. Still right now today, and I'm almost 40.
It's heavy work.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just
Yeah.
like, it's still today I'm trying to figure out how to make my brain not think about doing bad things to survive. Because that's what I've been taught to know how to do. You know, still today I'm trying to, I guess because I'm the type of person that I don't like to feel played or manipulated or tricked or something like that is one of the main reasons why I would not go back and commit the same crime that I committed, because I know that there's no winning in that game. It's just a trick. It's just, you know, it's just like I said, you're a pun. So that's why I wouldn't commit that crime again. But I'm not saying it's not another one that I wouldn't commit if the situation got rough enough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
No,
it's just,
Oh, that's real.
you know, I'm
You thinking it through. I love it. I see your mind working.
So I have a question to ask. What advice could you give me today if I was in your situation?
if I met somebody that was in my situation.
No, it's no if. I am in your situation, Chris. No more ifs. I'm currently in your situation. I don't know what to do. I've never been to prison before, but I have 2 children, 10 and 6. And I receive food stamps and it's barely feeding us. Sometimes I have to go without food in order for my kids to eat, especially when it gets closer to the end of the month.
Yeah.
You to be quite honest, I really at where I'm at today, in my thinking, I don't even think that I really want to give you no advice if you told me something like that.
Yeah.
Because as a woman, survival mode is going to kick in for me.
Survival mode gonna kick in.
So I wouldn't be able to give you no advice that probably wouldn't lead you to.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to think about, okay, what we going to do right now? Because we can't worry about tomorrow. We got to, she said they ain't got nothing to eat tonight. So, I mean, today, the woman, I'm still trying to get there. I'm still trying to figure out how do I get to that place.
I got a question.
Yes.
So you said you had a kid at 15,
Yeah.
right? After you had the kid, how did the relationship with the dad go? Was he like supportive? Was it like two parents, or did he like leave you with the
When I had my daughter at 15, first of all, I got with him at 13, and just to like not trying to get all into it, but I had her at 13. I mean, I got with him at 13, and I broke my virginity when I was 14 and a half, and I got, started having sex with him, and then I was like raped, because I kept going to the doctor trying to get pregnant, and the doctor was like, "Where's your mother at?" And I was just like, "I don't know, somewhere getting high or something."
Right.
And the lady was just like, tears was like, the doctor lady, like tears running out her eyes.
Right,
And long
right.
story short, I could not get pregnant. I really wanted to, because he was like cheating on me all the time at this age. So I was thinking like, well, if I have a baby with him, that'll make him stop. Because that's what my 14-year-old mind was telling me.
Okay.
And when I got my raped, I got pregnant, and I was like, didn't know if it was his or not, because I never had been pregnant by him until I got raped. And he was like, no, just keep it, whatever, I'm still gonna take care of it. And he was only 2 years older than me. And we were living at his grandmother's house. And literally, when I got about 4 to 5 months pregnant, he started abusing me, like hitting on me,
Right.
and everything. And like when I got about 6 months pregnant, he started it got really bad. And when I had my daughter, he like completely became like an alcoholic, like at 17 years old, full blown alcoholic, because he was he had mental health issues. Like he took Ritalin his whole life, and he watched his mother be beat on and his grandmother be abused by her military husband, and so this is what he seen duplicated in his home, and he displayed those things to me. I didn't know none of this stuff as a kid, what he grew up with and all this and that. And he got himself off of Ritalin at like 15 and self-medicated with alcohol, and he became a complete alcoholic by the time he was 17 or 18 years old. And it was normal to me because my mother was a complete alcoholic my entire life. Okay. So it wasn't like it was something that I wasn't immune to. That's why I put up with it for 7 years, because I stayed with him for 7 years, even after he was hitting on me and everything. And no, he did not help me with my child or anything like that.
Watch this. I want to. So, because you asked a really difficult question, right? And let me say this, like, I don't, and you always keep it, you be doing some real shit. And I love it. And I want to, this podcast need to ultimately be real and authentic, right? I'm saying that everybody ain't going to be saved. It's casualties of war. There's going to be victims in this shit, right? We want to save as many as we can, but I am under no delusion that some people are going to get the blunt end of the impact, right? So, to your question, right, is really what I heard was she been through some shit, right? And she gave so many different narratives of why she took it long as she did, how she ended up in this, the signs that she knew that he was like, being promiscuous and cheating and all that she ignored. I think that if Sakura was to allow young women to really have an immersive experience of like what you've been through, it ain't gonna help all of them. Some of them gonna listen to that and gonna still go down that trap and gonna get their life jacked all the way up. But I think that there's some girls that'll be like, damn, my boyfriend cheating on me right now. And his ass always lying. And why do I even want a baby by him? Why do I feel like, maybe, you know what I'm saying, I needed some to love because I felt like I wasn't getting the love that I needed. I wasn't getting, all these layers, right, that created the mindset, the trauma that created the realities. your story's so powerful, right? All of our stories are so powerful. I think that at some point, we have to be very clear in our story and how the circumstances that surrounded our life help shape and mold the decisions we made, the people we chose to be with or deal with or protect, right? I think that it'll help somebody, like, to be able to say, pause, or before I do this, or before I go ahead and let me think, because I heard what Kimberly said. I remember that lady Kimberly told me that, man, she did that and it tore her life up, right? Or I remember that one, I liked her because she was cute, and you know what I'm saying, I could relate to her, and she told me, like, she went through some shit. And then they get to look, I'm telling you, I've seen it 1,000 times. I've been in them Indian rivers and them juvenile facilities, and I get talking about 10 years old, getting beat, whooped, tied to shit, this, that, and there's always somebody in that room that be like, damn, my mama did me like that. Man, I used to get beat all the time, right? It's always that someone. I go in rooms now and I say, if there's 20 kids in that room, the statistics say that 50, 60% of them going to be just as impacted before they get out of middle school. The statistics say that, 12% of them ain't going to make it to 15, 20 years old. The statistics say that if it's a ratio of, 15 girls in that room, so many going to be pregnant before, out of wedlock. So many, going to drop out of high school. So many, going to suffer abuse before they get to 18. My question to the room has always been, who is the one that, despite all these obstacles, is going to be able to rise above it, right? Who? Because if I'm sitting in the room talking to 30, 40 kids, the research say that, man, the statistics, they put statistics down on our kids before they're even born. And so I'm not going to pick and say, it's going to be you, it's going to be you. I don't know who it's going to be. They didn't have me as the most likely to succeed when I went to high school. Matter of fact, they didn't have me on the list to graduate, but I did. And I know I'm winning now.
For sure.
At 50 plus years old, you understand? I live to go to my high school reunions, because, you understand? Yeah. Hey, y'all.
Say
hey,
less,
classmates.
Baby. Yeah.
But that
For
ain't how it
sure.
started.
For sure. But
I think we gotta get our stories out.
and I appreciate that, because it ain't how it started, but most importantly, can we talk a little bit about the intense work you did in order to become, just a few seconds about the 30, 60, 90 days you wasn't even talking to people.
Yeah. So,
6 months?
Yeah, 6
How long?
months. 6 months.
So if I say, hey, Fred,
Yeah.
what you would say?
Yeah. So for me, when I first got incarcerated, man, I was so dark. I had went down a hole so dark and devilish. I felt like, tell you, we resonate, because I felt like the devil used me. I was like, this son of a bitch he done tricked me. I'm one of his greatest disciples. I'm wrecking. I'm wrecking folks you got a drug addiction. But I'm about to take your life, but you got a drug addiction. And I'm justifying in my mind that your life ain't worth nothing because you done messed up this money, right? I had to wrestle with that. I had to wrestle with people that lost their life in the streets because they was following me. I was a bad leader. But I had, at the time, you understand, thinking that, hey, man, you know what you signing up for. So if you lose your life in this game, man, you understand, that's what you signed up for. You know what it is. I was wrong. You was following me because I was a leader. I was a leader then, I'm a leader now. But I knew you wasn't built for that life. I knew you didn't have that cold heart. You was a chef, you was loyal. And because of my lack of leadership, I put you in the lion's den. And you ain't make it out. I struggled with that. I went in there, and when I found out that I was so far from my own humanity, man, I did 6 months silent fast. I wouldn't watch TV for 10 years. I ain't watched TV for 10 years. At least 8 of them, right? Didn't want a TV in my cell. because I had to figure out how did I get so far gone. And guess what? It came from the trauma. It came from those I love. Discipline, a kid, a child, tying a child up. I had to go back. I had to question everything I ever thought was true. That's why I'm telling you the work that we do, it has to be anchored in adverse childhood experiences. It has to be. Because people are living with belief systems, right, and hardcore dispositions that they don't even know where they got them from. I spent 2/3 of my life trying to prove that I ain't scared to die for mine and wasn't living for shit. I used to go to the basketball court and see dudes that had bullet holes and, you know, the staples all in your stomach and all that. They playing basketball, bullet holes, and I'm feeling like I ain't got my war wounds because I ain't got no bullet holes, no stab wounds, no nothing. That's insanity. I got them now. I got the bullet holes now. But I'm a kid going through life thinking that I need, you understand, some bullet shot. What mindset is that? Like, I can even assume that I'm going to get shot and survive. But I wanted that. I wanted them war wounds. You know what I'm saying? Insanity. Insanity. And we got children out here living with insanity all based on the summation of trauma and drama that they experience in their life. And no safe spaces for them to unpack. Or even to just listen. I done seen it time and time again when I go in these rooms and I start talking to these kids about the whoopings, the beatings, the tying up, the stitching cords, all that, lack of food, lack of this, lack of that. Man, it hit home.
Me and my son was having a conversation 2 days ago, and I really had to break down and cry because I'm really in fear of my life. I'm in fear of my son's life. He's 9 years old. His father has been in and out of prison his entire life for selling dope. And, you know, I left when the first time he was 2 months old, and I came back when he was 4. And then I was out for 18 months, and I went back again and did 3 more years. And so when I came home, he was 7, and he's 9 today. And the first time that I was gone, he was touched by a 14-year-old boy when he was like 3 or 4. So me being like fearful of him being like homosexual, I allowed him to like listen to like, you know, music that was whatever, or hang around his cousins that I know that are
savages.
Yes, like you know, in Atlanta and stuff, and I wanted to put him in those atmospheres just to make sure, you know, because he was with my grandmother, my second bid, and he didn't know anything. He went to school with all white people and this and that. And he was just, you know, not what I felt like he should be, but all along he had that inside of him, but it just had not been. And now that he have all this electronics devices and he has been around, you know, different children, especially African-American children, because when I first got him back and I moved to Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is like a predominantly African-American school system where the kids are failing, most of the children are dropping out, kids getting pregnant at 12 and 13 years old, this and that and the other. He literally got into a fight every day because the school that he went to, he's a very dominant alpha kid already. And he used to, you know, like run the white kids and stuff. But when he went to that school and he tried that shit, they were like getting into it with him, like jumping him and everything. And so, long story short, we was having a conversation 2 days ago, and his dad people live right up here over there on Drexel, and I take him over there from time to time to play with his cousins. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about, because we live in Beechwood, across the street from Beechwood Mall, nice area. I was like, what you think about living over here? He was like, yeah, I want to live over here. I don't see nothing wrong with it. What you think? And I was like, yeah. He said he don't see nothing wrong with it. And I said, so he said, yeah, when my dad get out of jail, I'm moving with my dad. I want to live over there. I don't want to live with you.
You paying all these high bills trying to keep him.
He said he don't want to. And I said, why? I said, so you telling me? He was like, what's wrong with it? I said, because, you know, it's a higher chance that your house might get broken into. Somebody might steal your PlayStation 5, you know, your nice Jordans and phone posses and Gucci and all that. Somebody might steal your stuff. He was like, Mom, if somebody come in our house and try to steal our stuff, I'm going to go get my, what he called it? He said, I'm going to go get my, he called it not a blicky, but
Blicky?
something.
That blicky.
He
That's
said
that
something,
work.
some type of term for a gun. He said he was gonna go get, but
Switching?
basically, not a switch. He
Switch.
used the word like.
That blicky mean
It was
that
something like
happened
a blicky, but it's something that younger people use. He said, I'm gonna just say blicky, but it was another word, but it was something
Right.
like that. He said, I'm gonna go get my blicky. And I was like, what?
Just had to check that
And
room.
he was like, I was like, what is a blicky? He like, man, never mind, just forget it. And
I
I'm
just had to
like,
check your room,
I'm
though,
like,
young man.
what you mean just forget it? I'm like, just tell me. He was like, no, just forget it. I'm like, so we can't even have a real conversation, son to mom. I was like, you don't have to be scared to tell me nothing. I was like, and what you gonna do with your blicky? And he was like, I'm gonna do like this. And he did it like that.
Oh,
and then he was like, yeah, and if they, and I was like, but why would you even want to put yourself in a situation where it got to be another black on black crime, black people killing black people? He was like, Mom, I mean, I ain't gonna want to do it, but if they come in our house, I gotta protect us. He was like, and at first, if they got a weapon, I'm gonna use a weapon.
that's that
And he was
man-child.
like, if they don't got no weapon, then I'm gonna use my hands. But if they got a weapon, Mom, I'm gonna use a
You
weapon.
heard what he said? He said he got to protect us.
Yeah, that's what he
That's that
said.
man-child shit, I'm telling you. That sent me off the porch. I
And,
love my mom. Your son love you, don't he?
Yeah, and
You
he
mama
was,
boo.
and it made me very upset. And he was just like, I could see that in him, like the street, and I'm like scared for his life, because I know the type of things that he's interested in, the things that he like, and he loves school, but I try to like take him away from something and show him something different, and the more I try to push him to that, he wants
We wanna
he
meet
wants
him.
to be.
We got to meet him. He gonna get in that after school program we got.
Yeah, and
We about
it
to-
just
you got to, cause he nine is active mode now. They 9 years old is like the prerequisite of
And
getting.
sometimes when people knock on our door, he go get his Nerf gun and he comes to the door.
See,
Like, and I just be like, what are you doing? Why are you getting that for? And he was like, cuz you don't know who at the door. You don't know who that is.
that's that.
And I think it's strictly social media teaching him this stuff.
Social media ruthless.
And then it's this game that he's playing where he's on this game with these kids. I'm really in the process of suing these gang people because I just feel like it got my son addicted. It started an addiction, and it's teaching him and showing him things.
Shit, kids, you
that-
got grown ups. You got grown ass
all day.
men
And then it's like,
that's on them games.
Yes, all day.
and I was just
All
having a
day.
conversation
Turn
with
off.
somebody, and it was like me coming home from prison, not knowing how to take care of us. I'm gone 75-80% of the time trying to make money to survive. Then I was in school.
I
So it's
produce
like
on the game
the
right now.
PlayStation 5 is really what was raising my son because I put cameras in my house and put the game there so that I could be gone for long periods of time and he wouldn't be, scared in the house by himself. That, he could communicate with other people on the game.
You left him with that tour of duty, that Grand Theft Auto.
And it's just like, but what else do you do? It's like, how else am I going to go out and make money and I was going to school and how was I going to do those things? And I don't have family. up here
This
to
so
do
deep. Again,
He told me that the other day. He's going to go get his blicky.
yeah, you need to be searching his room. He probably got a blicky in that room under that bed somewhere. I'm telling you better check that book bag. Because he probably did see. He probably slipped up and just said it to you. Because they can get a gun easier than they can get like a book nowadays. But so all right, so I'm really about like problem solution, right? I believe with all that I'm hearing, this was a lot. Like this was a lot. And I think that not only was it a lot that we like explored today, but it's not indicative to just us. I think this is a narrative that many moms, many brothers, many people that's been directly impacted, male and female, black and brown, white too, is experiencing in the world today. And so to me, I think we need a pilot. We need a model. We need a demonstration project. What do I mean by that? I think we need, we used to be that saying, I might be dating myself. It took a village to raise a child. I think that's true.
No, that's a fact.
I think that's true.
No, that's a fact.
Right, and I think that some of the work we doing with BFO, allowing people to understand the political narrative and how they can actually influence their local economy and government, right, as well as state. I think that this project we embark on, not a Miracle Mile, can bring together in a very intentional way people that are skilled to actually address each and every one of these problems. Like you got a 9-year-old son. You need access to some good, strong, positive men, right? That's going.
And let me just say one more thing, because they say statistically proven that they give your child a number based on his scores in the 3rd grade. In the 3rd grade, they go and do like some studies.
The SAT
and
scores, I think it is.
whatever little tests that they do, by the 3rd grade, they know if your child going to go to prison or not. And the odds are even higher if one of the parents been to prison. And both of his parents have been to prison.
Yeah, they got, and I was just listening
So
to
I'm
you.
scared for my son.
He should be. And I was just listening to you talk about your son, you know what I'm saying, being fondled, you know what I'm saying, at 3-4 years old, parents locked up, boom, boom, boom. I got a 4 on him already on the adverse child experience scale.
Oh, he got more than a 4.
I know it, but I'm just saying, but I'm just saying, I heard damn near a 4. When you know the rest, so like you said, you got more than 4. So he 9 years old, that's running a risk of a 8 aces, and we know that if you got more than 2, your life expectancy is 20 years less than somebody who don't have it. So he already, you understand, is fighting from a disadvantage. And we can fix that because aces can be reversed at 9 years old, right? Positive role models, right? Which means we got to breed them because it's different between a credible messenger and a mentor. A credible messenger, you just got to tell the truth. But a mentor, you got to be willing and dedicated to holding that kid's hand, modeling what you say and do, being committed, right?
And nurturing.
And I'm talking about committed to the child, not committed because you like the mama.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Not that weird stuff, too. Because, you know, dudes show up weird like that. Fall out with the mama and ain't spoke to the kids since then. You know, another broken relationship. So keep it clear. Right?
We can have many segments on
Yeah.
just
we
that
got
topic alone.
That's right. And then we got to have topics for
With
the
my-
mom, right? Mamas that's having kids that's young. How do we stop a kid from, like, getting into the trap? Okay, yeah, school to prison pipeline. Yeah, sound good. But young mom, that you got an 8 or 9. You looking for love. You ain't get it at home. Daddy ain't love you. Mama was gone. You know what I'm saying? You looking outside for love and affection. You want a baby because I want something to love. I want something that I can love that's mine.
That's
you know,
how
but you ain't got no financial stability at all. We got to stop the bleeding. It's a saying. It's a saying that we sitting on the riverbed, and we talking and just kicking it. We look in the river, and we see a baby floating down the river. We're like, damn, hold on, damn, Kim, look at this. Look, it's a baby. So we run, you know, our natural instinct. We running in the water. We grab the baby.
Moses.
We grab the baby. No, it ain't Moses. Watch this. We grab the baby, get the baby safe. You know, you take off your sweater, you understand? Get the baby warm. And by the time we get the baby safe and secure on the shore, we look in the river, it's another baby floating down the river. So we run in there again and grab that baby. And we're like, damn, what the hell? It's another baby in the river. We grab that baby. As soon as we get that baby to shore and secure, we look, it's another baby floating down the river. Now here go the choice. The choice is, are we going to keep running in and pulling babies out the river? Or are we going to go upstream and find out
To the dam, find out why they're getting down.
where is the hell these babies coming from?
Go to the top and cut.
know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in so many ways, it's very similar to us stopping the bleeding on all these different layers of situation, generational trauma, abuse, neglect, abandonment, poverty, all these things that just pack us down, right? Or do we say, hey, breathe. Let us first understand the circumstances surrounding our life that made us make these decisions. And create, right? Create this thing where we all say, you know what I'm saying, we're going to give our best selves to this practice, right? Because I noticed something, and you probably noticed something too. When you come in here, even though you understand, you're a very attractive young lady. Now, they might be sneak behind my back and try to, you know, say, shoot a little something. But they pretty respectful, aren't they?
No, they absolutely very respectful.
They absolutely respectful here, Kim. And you ain't really heard no arguments and no trash shit either, right, in this space, have you? And that's been consistent. Because the investment in every individual person is to know thine own self and to thine own self be true. And we create a space where you can unpack all the shit that life done gave you, right? Without judgment. For the simple purpose of making you your best self. And then sharing that best self with others. If you need to sit and take a breather, if you need to just sit on the side of the road, we know that giving out ain't giving up. And we got some very strong, manly and womanly individuals in this space. We not suckers. We apex predators, you understand, in our old world, right? And so they have to deal with that too. They got to say, well, man, these dudes, these ain't just people who creating this space because they don't have no space to occupy, right? We showing transformation at its best. And I think that it is segments for everything, right? That we pour into each other, right? Because when you empty, man, it's hard to pour into somebody. But when you full, you got abundance, right? And every day ain't gonna be a great day. So that's why we always try to figure out what's your temperature. You're 5, that means you're fully alive. You're 1, that means, man, today done gave me a challenge. So we want to know that when you're around us, because we want to, if you low, we want to be able to give you the things and support you need, so that when you leave, you ain't a 1, maybe you're a 3. You know, and if you're a 5, that means you should be extra responsible to the needs and care of others. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that we got a lot of work to do with people that's been directly impacted and justice involved. I think we got a lot of work to do with our young brothers and sisters that's going through some things as if they were adults, even though they haven't had the time to grow and have a full childhood. I think we got to have a conversation with young mothers and young fathers and people who are looking for love outside themselves, not really understand the financial responsibility of that. I think we got to have political understanding, because there are systems in place that are already allocated with their mission statement to do certain things that we doing, and they not doing it. And that means you need to be uprooted. If you holding a position of power and you supposed to be adhering to the needs of the people and you not, then that's a cost that you got to answer for. You know? But I think that none of these things we can do in a silo, and as individuals, I think we have to at some point, you know, make a conscious commitment, right, to doing it together.
I agree.
You know, and so like our really count time is, we count time is for the 2 million individuals in Ohio and the other 80 million that's across the country that, you understand, stand divided. Some don't want to look back and don't want to identify with prison after they done left it. Some, you understand, is, you know, being held underfoot because of the trauma that they still haven't figured out of being in there or why they got there. I think we have to create a language, a shared language that we can resonate across all cities, states, and cultures. You know, that's my goal. I think that's what my purpose is. You know, and if you don't know me by now, they know my tagline is "I need you." You know, so I'm just honored. I'm honored to have this conversation with you. I think we need to have many more. Like you say, we touched on a lot of stuff. Each one need their own time and deliberate attempt to like weigh in on it. But we got a plan. We got committees. I ain't even told you about the Miracle Mile, the committee structures. Got to tell you about that. And we got some support too. We spoke to the U.S. Senator today, and he said he's committed to like helping lift this initiative in his office, the role he played in the federal government and the budget and the boards he sit on. And so I think that there's some opportunities, you know, that we can capitalize off of if we just work.
100%. 100%. I'm all in.
You all in?
I'm committed to the bone, baby. Committed. I don't know nothing different. Yeah. I'm all or nothing kind of woman anyway. So.
Say that. All right. So yeah, that's good. You know, we keep you, girl.
I mean, so can you let me know when count gonna clear? Cause count time been like almost an hour.
What they say when they do they say something when count time?
Count clear.
You say count clear.
No, that's your job.
I like count time.
And I'm waiting on count clear.
Count clear.
All love, baby, all love.
You cannot move until they say count clear.
Really?
You cannot get off
I
that
forget
bump.
about count
We
clear.
done.